Okay, so 2 weeks ago, we were in Ryan Brown's house.
Yes. Was it 2 weeks ago? Is that right? Wow.
Two podcasts ago.
Wow.
Last week, or last episode, I was at Haley's apartment. There's a reason we haven't been in the studio for a couple weeks, and that's because the studio is gone.
Yes.
After spending millions of dollars on a state-of-the-art recording studio,
Yes.
we felt it wasn't good enough for you anymore.
No, state-of-the-art was insufficient.
So we tore it down, and we are no longer recording in a studio. We are in the brand new underground Challengers Podcastitorium.
Yes, it's a recording bunker. The previous studio was very, very high off the ground, and once again, we felt that was insufficient for people, so we thought, well, what's the other thing we could do? And that's far beneath the surface of the earth.
The opposite. Let's go under. Let's deaden the noise by having just tons of earth around us.
Yeah, this hopefully the acoustics are more pleasing.
Maybe.
Except for the fact that I'm still talking on it, so I guess maybe that's the problem.
Dal, people missed you. People did say they missed you.
That can't be true.
One person.
My mom.
One person said, no, it wasn't your mom.
My mom didn't miss me.
No, your mom said Haley was great.
I believe that.
Your mom did not comment on Haley, but I'm sure she thought it internally.
Probably. The daughter she never had.
Come on and visit for any occasion. Don't keep patting down waiting. Comics and conversation. Keep the conversation moving along. Keep reading comics. Keep your local store strong. If it's hard, then it's a job for the challengers. Comics and conversation, y'all.
From Challengers Comics and Conversation in Chicago, this is Contest of Challengers, a comics industry business podcast with Patrick Brower and W. Dal Bush.
So there's a penchant for some external noise, but this is it. This is the new recording setup, which, shockingly, the exact same chairs.
Yeah, well, that wasn't a problem. There were a lot of things that needed to be fixed.
Acoustically, the chairs were
improved,
fine.
Destroyed, imploded. But the chairs were good, so we made sure the chairs got out of the studio before we detonated the studio.
Yeah, well, the gear's the same. The table is between us. Unfortunately, the lit tree that's whole purpose was to shield each of us from the other, so I don't have to see how many times you yawn already in an episode.
Lot. 2, I think. I think it's 2. For those keeping count at home.
The tree is also gone.
It is. It's true.
And, the scenery around us has completely changed.
Yeah, I would say so.
I mean, it's a lot of the same... Hey, that guy looks like you. The Sharpling and Worcester box set.
Sure, okay.
Yeah. Look at that. I mean...
I see it.
Hair.
Yeah, Once Upon a Time.
Sure.
That's, I think it's Ronald Thomas Clontel, the author of Rock, Rot, and Rule. Rock, Rot, and Rule is a good book. The Definitive Argument Settler.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the difference is we're looking at my books instead of your books this time. That's the big difference.
Well, I was always looking at both because I'm on an angle.
Yeah.
So sure. I get 2 walls. Now it's all your books.
Generally looking at your graphic novels or more recently, your piles of boxes of action figures.
Well, we knew we were moving. The studio was being torn down, so things had to get boxed up.
Correct. It's just good practices.
So anyway, this listener is entirely for you. We hope you appreciate it.
Yeah, and we're not even raising our Patreon levels to accommodate it.
No, we're not. We spared no expense. This is all, it's all on us.
How much we give?
Well, seeing as how we haven't had an episode in basically 3 weeks now that talks about the current topics of the day, you would think that we'd have a ton saved up.
I mean, someone who's never listened to the podcast would assume that, yes.
We don't.
We don't.
No.
What's going on? I have no idea.
There are, the normal petty annoyances and things. For example, we got in a pretty healthy diamond replenishment order today.
Okay.
And I hate the way we have to receive those.
Yeah, it's real bad now. Because
Diamond ships them out before they're invoiced. So there's not, you can't just download and import an invoice. It won't exist until, Tuesday?
If that, yeah.
But we want to be able to sell the product now.
Yeah, certainly for people who come in over the weekend. If there's, a special order item, we want to make sure that someone gets it as soon as possible. And if it's something that can go on the shelves and we can sell it, we want to do that as soon as possible.
So you just have to do everything manually, which slows it down and is more prone to errors and really makes it so I'm never sure it's being received properly.
Yeah, I think a thing we've mentioned before, and if I'm wrong on this, I'm sure Brian will reach out to me and let me know that I'm doing it wrong. But one of the difficulties we've had with replenishment orders is that the replenishment order comes through from Diamond with a specific diamond code on it. That may not be the diamond code it was ordered under in Managed Comics or how we initially ordered it through Diamond, because frequently Diamond will have like a new to order code, which could be in the 8,000s or 9,000s, but then when it ends up in the catalog, it gets reduced down to like the 3,000s.
Yeah.
They become completely different codes that in Diamond system all mean the same thing. Something can have multiple child codes, but Managed Comics is usually, to my knowledge, looking for a specific code. If it doesn't see it, it doesn't see it. So we've had instances where we would receive a toy or something under the code that is on the Diamond sheet that we got in the box with the item from Diamond, and then we would find out, no, it was actually on someone's account under a completely different code. We would need to find that code, so an item might have multiple entries in Managed Comics system, and pick the one that will actually trigger the special order pull. I don't think that's happening as much anymore. I think that's a data issue that Brian and the Managed Comics team is aware of, because we've talked about it a few times. But yeah, there is still that hesitation of like, are we doing this right? Is someone actually not down for this and we ordered this for the shelf? Or is someone down for it and the system just didn't find it? That is, it's an anxiety.
It's also confusing when something comes in, for example, an issue of non-sport update, and you can't find anyone down for it.
Someone was down for a non-sport update recently as a subscription, I think.
As a subscription? Because I looked under
Pre-orders?
special orders, yeah.
I think it's a subscription.
Okay. And I looked through the entire book.
Double check.
But I didn't think a subscription item would come up in a replenishment order.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so either. But
and then
I know we had recently it got pulled for someone on a weekly order.
I'll look at that tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then there was a Dark Knight's Metal Wonder Woman pop vinyl. That again, I don't know why it came by itself, because it's not.
It's not new.
It's not new, but also it doesn't exist in our system.
It's been a long time since we had that one. Is that the chainsaw one?
I don't know. She's in the funky armor.
Okay.
Probably the chainsaw one.
Okay.
So those two are aside. Like, I don't know why we have these.
Sure, but I mean, I guess stuff like that maybe isn't as mission critical to get them on the shelves as soon as possible.
No, but it's still annoying.
We'll find it. You're right. You want to take care of that stuff just to have a clean workspace and not have anything hanging over your head. Which
I don't, because I did not finish importing all of the dozens of Transformers that came in today, because they all need a separate listing.
They do.
For one quantity.
Yeah, sorry.
I questioned why we got one case when there was nothing in it you wanted. I guess just for the shelf?
Just for the shelf, yeah.
Okay.
And also, unfortunately, sometimes we don't know what's in the cases when we order them. We just order them, and we hope that it's something we need. In this case, it was not.
We did get a call today from our distributor.
Yeah.
Asking about pre-orders. And I do appreciate the diligence. It was basically like, hey, these orders are closing. You're not down for any of these things. But every single one was a specific thing where I'm like, no, we don't want this.
Sure.
Because I go through all the pre-orders. I go through the emails. I look at the things. And then they would say, okay, well, it's this. I'm like, yeah, those things currently aren't selling for us, so we're going to not get this box set thing.
Right.
But again, I appreciate the diligence, and I was able to get more information about a couple of specific product lines we had asked about before.
Okay. Cool.
And I got good answers.
Nice.
And something else beneficial to us, so that was good.
Very cool.
But it's very much like, oh no, we pass on all of these things.
Yeah, that was a conscious choice.
Yeah. Some are for reasons I don't articulate to them.
Sure.
And I don't go into detail here because they may listen.
Uh-huh.
I never want to censor what I'm saying because somebody may hear it.
No, but we have business relationships and we don't want to jeopardize
Sure, but like
those.
literally there are customers that we would complain about theoretically, as I can't believe this person did this, without naming them, of course.
Right.
And then you think, oh no, this person listens.
Sure.
And now 5 people just went, wait, are they talking about me?
It's not you.
It's not. It isn't you. There's not even a thing we're talking about specifically, but yeah.
Well, it's good to keep people who listen to this on edge.
That's right.
That's crucial.
I feel like specifically last episode, which I keep saying last episode, which it was, but it was literally recorded 2 weeks ago for me, so it's a little further back.
Sure.
But Haley and I did a lot of. I start talking about a thing, then I'm like, I'm not gonna finish. And then she's like, well, you'll tell me after we're done recording. I'm like, yeah, I'll tell you then. But so a lot of like things we left off for people.
Sure.
But you and I are well versed in vague mentioning things. There are times, there are things. Man, I remember one years ago. Like I like doing things like hey on Twitter, which we'll obviously stop using very very soon. Things like remember this day. We're going to tell you a thing that's happening, and this is the day that it was decided, and blah blah blah.
Right.
We did it once for a thing that never ever happened. That was not in our control. It was back when we were doing ChallengeJuniors.
Okay.
And we were presented with a major cast recording of Cursed Pirate Girl.
Okay.
With people like UFC fighter Randy Couture.
Okay.
And other actors and things. Do you remember this?
I don't.
This was
probably because it didn't happen.
This was a Tom Nagovin thing.
Right, of course.
Hi, Tom.
Hey, Tom.
And he's like, yeah, we're going to do this. And we're like, oh, man, we totally want to be voices in it as well. And he's like, well, maybe. But it was.
You guys aren't really a big deal.
It wasn't done exclusively for us, but it was done like, oh, you do this kind of thing. You can use this.
Yeah, for those who don't remember, because it was a brief window in time years and years ago, ChallengeJuniors was a thing where we would record...
a kid's book.
Like we would do a read-along for a book. We would record people doing the voices of the different characters in a graphic novel. And then kids and adults in attendance would, read along with it. We did like...
Six.
No one cared. Kids didn't really show up. It wasn't really a thing. And it eventually just became too much work to do for something that people weren't really showing up for.
I mean, it was fun for us because we would get a group of our friends.
Yeah.
And do the voices. We did Magic Trixie and Jill Thompson sat in with it.
Yeah.
In fact, an old episode of Contest of Challengers was just an episode.
Was it?
We did Bone out from Boneville and John Carlo from Club Lago
did Smiley.
Yeah. Hey, everybody, it's Smiley Boo.
Yeah, he had a real good voice for it.
Yeah, he was great. We did Tiny Titans and Art Balthazar came.
Yeah.
And Tiny Titans we all got so confused in it because it's not stories per se as it is gags.
Yeah.
And we all, the cadence was wrong. But our good friend Deva became our good friend Deva because we asked her to do Magic Trixie with us.
Deva Norte.
And so also Susan Bishop, formerly of Devil's Due, was Magic Trixie herself.
Yeah.
The dumbest one was... what was the name? It was a Ted Knife book. Not Courtney Crumrin. Polly and the Pirates.
Right.
And everyone flaked on that recording, so I did the entire thing by myself. So I did every voice. But I hadn't read the book before. And I hadn't sounded out some of the names.
Sure.
So it pronounced the names differently. Like, there was a matronly woman who would say... Well, Miss Vander Vic Van Verdenver.
So anyway, we did those for 6 months or something, and then we just stopped doing it because no one cared.
Yeah.
But anyway, Tom Nagovin had offered us Cursed Pirate Girl.
With actual actors, because Tom doesn't do things halfway. Tom is a professional and wants to represent himself and his people as well as possible. Mm-hmm. And we are... fortunate enough to be considered his people in some aspects of that.
Sure.
We miss Tom. He moved to California a while ago.
That's true.
He visits though. So that's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did a Remember This Day because that was when we found out about it.
Uh-huh.
And then it never got recorded.
I guess.
Hilariously, I bet Tom was listening saying, No, we recorded it. We just never gave it to you.
That's also possible.
Yep. So I was talking to John Suntress today of the Word Balloon podcast, telling him some of our upcoming plans for 2023, because 2023 is a double anniversary year for us.
Is it?
Yeah, it's. I can't believe you don't remember this. It's like you don't even care. Why am I doing this? Am I doing this by myself?
Maybe.
Come on. Come on. What happens next year?
It's 15th anniversary of Challengers.
Yeah.
And it's the somethingth anniversary of Sidekicks.
Why would we celebrate Sidekicks?
Because it's been open for 8.5 years.
It's the 10th anniversary of Sidekicks.
It's the 10th anniversary of Sidekicks. That must be it.
So we want to do something for both of those things. The anniversary of Challengers falls on C2E2 weekend.
Yeah, the Friday of, I think?
Yeah, the Friday of. So there may be a C2E2 component involved that's been pitched to us.
It was pitched to us, but we were also like, you don't want to do this.
Yeah.
So we'll see if in, 6 months we get met with a, like, you guys are doing this, right? Instead of a total radio silence, everyone forgot about it.
Well, a possible component has been added today to that. But
just say Haley.
I won't say.
Just say Haley.
No, it's Johnny.
Oh, okay.
If we do it.
I mean, I didn't think it was Haley.
John.
I was just making a joke.
John Suntress will moderate it.
I was just making a joke about frequent co-host Haley.
Guest host, yes. I mean, it's true. You would rather have her be host, but that's fine.
Guest makes it sound like she's not going to be on this as often as me.
We don't have any concrete plans for her next recording.
I'm sure something will come up.
I mean, I have an idea of what it is, because I like to have a reason for it to be Haley.
Okay.
Subject matter-wise.
Okay.
And I have something small in mind for the next time that's not time-sensitive.
Okay.
But, you and I are the events that have happened. I'm going to make a little... Did I miss one? Are we at 4 or is it just 3?
I can't... I lost count after 2. I think 4 is...
I'm glad that you're so relaxed in the podcastatorium.
I am. The gravity's heavier here, closer to the center of the Earth. That's how it works. That's how gravity works.
Yes, it is. Also, the way the podcastatorium is lit is we are split by where the light falls in the room. So I'm lit and you're in shadow.
Yeah, I guess I am.
You're in the...
I felt like I was well lit.
You're in the waning stage of the podcastatorium.
The waning days of the podcast.
Oh, look at that. Dworskin reference.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can still buy that album on the Challengers website and the Challenger store. I don't know if it's on the website. I honestly don't. I think it is.
I think it's definitely in the system to be run up, so it could be.
I just don't remember if I left it on the website or not. I might have.
It's funny because the Divorce Gun got together last weekend to record our holiday song this year, and in years past, I have...
My understanding was that it's your holiday song.
Fair.
Not yours and Bob's Divorce Gun holiday song.
There may be only one name attached to it due to embarrassment reasons. But as I was just about to say, normally I would stick it on the end of a podcast as we get close to Christmas. Mm-hmm. I don't know that I'll do that for this one. It's a little out there, but while we had mentioned something about something...
Real quick, speaking of the holiday song, can you make it available just to patrons just as a post? As it sound like... Here's an MP3, download it and listen to it.
I can, yeah.
Yeah, maybe do that.
Maybe.
That way people can decide on their own if they
Sure. It's just such a weird bonus for a comics industry business podcast.
But it's topical now. You just mentioned it.
Yeah, fair. But Jimmy P.S. Hayes had... Oh, no, it was a McRib post. Bob posted about getting McRib, and...
It is McRib season.
Jimmy P.S. Hayes asked if that's why the new Divorce Gun album is delayed. But I had to confess to Jimmy that, in fact, I am the reason the album is delayed, because I am woefully delinquent in my songwriting.
You did build an entire underground recording bunker.
Well, I know, and Bob understands that, but people listening...
I would expect your producer to understand better than anyone, yes.
That's true. My producer last week said this phrase to me, which will haunt me forever. I used to not be able to be in the same room with you when you sang because your voice was too powerful.
Used to?
Yeah.
Oof.
Now he says...
It's hell getting old, man.
Now he says, I can see when you're struggling.
You've been ill.
I said, look, I mean, and that plus, I haven't done anything with Serpent Crown in...
A pandemic?
Yeah, a pandemic. And the strength isn't there. I am not as... Those muscles have not been flexed as often as they were in the past.
Sure. Use it or lose it.
Yeah, exactly. So, I did not like that.
Bad note from your producer.
I mean, I'm sure an accurate note. It still just made me go, aw. Like, when... We were way off topic here. When I was younger and would get my hair cut, stylists would always say, "Why your hair is so thick?"
Mm-hmm. They don't say that anymore?
They don't say that anymore.
I assume they say it about your beard now.
It's not that thick. It's actually very spotty. It just grows in a way that hides the areas.
I mean, that's great.
When I was younger and working downtown, I volunteered for a laser treatment seminar where I was the laser victim from a dermatologist. And as a result...
What is happening? What was this?
It was laser hair removal.
Okay.
I was a subject. I was a test subject.
Oh.
For this laser treatment.
Like, really?
Yeah.
They pay you for this?
No.
Why did you do this?
Because I got free treatment.
Okay.
This is when I thought I was never, ever, ever going to grow a beard.
Uh-huh. Hilarious.
So
in retrospect,
there's a spot
so funny.
right here that hair doesn't grow because...
Oh, you got lasered.
Yeah.
Oh, funny.
Now, the thing is, laser treatments, you're supposed to get it done...
Yeah, they wear off, right?
No, but your hair grows in cycles.
Okay.
So you need to get each cycle lasered before it stops.
Oh, okay.
So I should have, like, 3/4 of the time I should have hair that grows there, but it doesn't.
Huh.
But it grows straight down this side. Okay, let's talk about comics, because this is super weird.
You got it.
Okay, go.
I read All Against All.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny, because I was just last night...
Alex Packnadell sent a new
Ryan Voss
reminder about it today, and I went, yeah, I'll read that.
had asked me if we'd read it yet, because he was interested in it. Because it's basically, what if it's Predator, but Tarzan is the Predator?
Yeah, basically. I think that's a good way of describing it.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm really interested in the book, but I haven't read it yet. I don't know if we got a PDF today. We get it in the mail today.
I'm sure we were given a PDF from Image weeks or maybe months ago.
Well, we were building this podcastatorium.
Right.
Which, I'll be honest with people, the paperwork alone on this took months. Mm-hmm. There's permits. There's payoffs.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Settlements with families.
Did we start this in May? Or was it just June?
I think it was June.
I feel like, man. And then once all the paperwork was finally settled in August, it took almost 2 months to get, like, we didn't build this from scratch, all right? We did take an abandoned husk and retrofit it.
Yeah.
So if we were doing it from scratch, it would still be a while.
It was actually a boat that we then put on land, and then I don't want to get into it. We're, again, way off topic. What I do want to mention is, so All Against All, we got an email from Alex Packnadell, who, like a lot of Image writers, said, like, hey, you probably got promotional stuff. Let me reach out to you personally to pitch my book so that you actually order it, because I assume it FOCs this weekend.
It does. And, no, I thought it was, I think it's next week.
Maybe. Usually we'll get a
I don't know how
email.
advanced, and this is what I was telling Ryan, I don't know how advanced Image's FOCs are because of the holidays. But this book is due out.
Well, this is definitely the few week period where a lot of stuff is getting real weird because we're hitting like the Thanksgiving window.
Yeah, but this book is due out first or second week of December.
Sure, something like that.
So it shouldn't be FOC'd yet. If it's not coming out till December,
who knows?
We shouldn't be FOCing it yet. I'm just saying.
I suppose I can look at it and find out.
In a normal world, this wouldn't be FOC'd until like November 12th.
Yeah,
is my guess.
Something like that. Let me, Alex.
I mean, it's yeah.
Install.
I'm sure it's in his email.
November 14th, pre-order cutoff.
Yeah, so he
on
gave
sale
it to us
December 7th.
In way more time than most people do.
He did. It's true.
So anyway, you read All Against All.
I read All Against All #1. I was excited about it because Casper Weingard, who did Homesick Pilots and also did Angelic, was the artist, and I thought his stuff on Homesick Pilots was great. and I was looking forward to seeing how he'd kind of evolve his style. The stuff that, I don't know if he's the colorist or there is a colorist, the color looks great on the book. Like, the color choices are amazing. There's a lot of really cool, like, kind of pastel feels to everything, and it's a hard sci-fi book. So going with that sort of color palette's really interesting and makes it feel different. And his line work is a lot more aggressive and a lot more, like, the animals in it, the earth animals are all very, like, horrifying, because you're seeing this all from, like, the aliens' perspective. Basically, like, aliens have gone to a ravaged, destroyed Earth, taken a lot of, like, remaining livestock and different animals and stuff, specifically so they could figure out how animals work so that they can use that in a war that they're in. So you're seeing this from the view of scientists who are half doing it as, like, you know, preservation, but also funded by the military. So it's like, okay, well, what are they going to do with all this? I loved it. I thought the first issue was great. You're thrown into the world so smoothly that there's never a sense of, like, I don't understand who these characters are, why they're doing what they're doing, what they're after. Everyone's motivations are super clear. I loved it. I thought, as far as, like, a sci-fi book, nailed it.
The fun thing about that is, if you recognize Alex Pankdale's name, it may be because of how high we were on Crimson Cage recently, and he drew that.
Did he?
Yeah.
I don't think I ever made that connection. Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Look it up. Maybe I'm wrong. Now I need to know.
I don't think that's correct, but I'm going to look.
Okay.
I remember Alex Packnadell from when he briefly stopped in Challengers.
Yeah, he's on our wall.
For a C2E2. That was, I think, the C2E2 where we were introduced to both Alex Packnadell and Ram V on, like, the same weekend, because they were friends.
Yeah. And Leanna was in town that weekend as well.
Yeah, that was a fun weekend. That was that 2019 maybe?
Probably. Was it the Revolution C2E2?
It might have been, yeah. Alex Cormack.
Oh, whoops.
It's okay.
Sorry, everybody.
It's okay.
Yeah. Alex Cormack, also on our wall.
Is that right?
Yeah, he did Sync, and he did...
CSRs is the thing that I just saw him credited on that Google search.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. Dang. Alex Packnadell did Giga.
I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I know he was doing Vault stuff, but a lot of the Vault stuff kind of didn't click for me.
That was a Vault book.
This is the thing of his that I loved. So, like, I'll definitely be paying more attention to his stuff going forward, and it'll be nice to be able to say when I see his name on a book, oh, the guy who wrote All Against All, it was really good. Because All Against All #1, really good. It's a 5-issue series. I know that's probably going to make some people want to wait for the trade, but I would say please pick up the first issue so you can show some support for this book. And if nothing else, it's $3.99, and it seems like a very large first issue from how much I was reading in it. You're definitely going to get your money's worth, even if you decide to get the trade later on.
There's so many 3-issue series that are out now that I question the viability of that.
Do you mean like the oversized ones, like the Scott Snyder ones?
Yeah. I know those were done in a different form, but also most of the Black Label books.
Yeah.
Those are all 3 issues.
Yeah, they pretty much all are. I think Lonely City was 4, I think.
Yeah. I thought it was supposed to be 3 and they added 4.
Maybe.
Lonely City was great, though.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was really good. It was a fun ending, too.
David Harper says that now when he thinks of the Cliff Chang story, it's not Paper Girls anymore, it's Lonely City.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bold.
High praise.
Yeah. And it's funny because I think for a lot of people, Paper Girls displaced Wonder Woman as the Cliff Chang work.
Yeah, sure.
So I guess every project is just better than the one before.
Yeah, he's getting better. That's great.
It's a hell of a thing, man.
Good for him. Industry news, Dow.
Yes, I'm ready for it.
Boom Studios.
I'm familiar with their work.
Has made a publishing decision.
Okay.
As to who represents them going forward as far as distribution goes.
Okay.
And their distributor for the next, I don't know, however many years the contract is
Diamond Comics?
Diamond Comics.
Okay.
They have re-signed with Diamond.
I hope they got a really good deal because of it.
They're doing so many things for retailers.
Mm-hmm.
I legit don't know what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not allowed to say, but
okay.
I'll say it anyway.
Oh,
they're eliminating reorder fees.
Great.
They're adding
reorder fees are so dumb.
They're adding a 2% shipping rebate.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. They're bringing back line-wide returnability.
Great.
They are.
That means we don't just have to get the one cover of Dan the Mall that you didn't like.
Yeah. They are.
Why did you get so many of this one, Molly Jade? It's the returnable one.
Yeah, boy, I definitely missed that memo and was ordering everything but the Boom Guarantee returnable covers as returnable.
I'm glad Molly had us covered on the FOCs then.
And it's funny because if you read it, it outright says only this is returnable, and I was always reading it as everything but this is returnable.
What would that even mean as a Boom Guarantee?
They did nothing. They did nothing wrong. It just didn't click in my head.
Wires got crossed in your brain.
You especially know where my head has been at since you decided. The whole podcastatorium was Dal's idea.
Single-handedly.
Yeah.
Decreed it.
It was
you know
Dal,
how I do things.
Unilateral
decisions.
Dal had said, I have to work when I'm sick. Dal had said, hey, in the next year or two, I want to build us a podcastatorium.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right.
Because we'd outgrown the studio.
All right, we'll start thinking about that. And then Dal's like, no, we're doing it right now.
Right now.
And I'm like, I thought it was literally next year sometime. You're like, nope, strike while the podcasting iron is hot.
Yep. Yeah, you were. You had a burrito in your hand that you were eating, and I slapped it out of your hand, and I said, no time for burritos, time for a new studio.
And I never ate a burrito again.
No. Gonna get a burrito after this, do you think?
No, tacos.
Yeah, okay.
There's literally half a burrito in the fridge.
Weird.
I had burritos with Bob after recording.
And you saved it and put it in the fridge.
Well, it was so big, I cut it vertically rather than horizontally, and then have like a whole slice. But I need to get salsa before I can eat it more, because then it's been in the fridge once. It's probably bad now anyway.
I would assume it's probably not good.
We'll see.
Yeah. Well, that's good news about Boom. I'm glad that.
Yeah.
I just as a person who owns a business, I thought, well, I hope they got a good deal and it's worth their while to stay at Diamond over going to another distributor. But it sounds like they also leveraged their new deal to get a good deal for retailers, which is great.
I mean, they constantly show their commitment to the direct market.
And I mean, from what I've seen,
appreciate it. And you know what? I do always feel a little bit bad when I say something
positive.
No, less than positive.
It's true. We like those people.
We do.
They do.
We do very much. But, I was talking to David Harper for a thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not being coy. It's his thing. It's not my thing. It's for an article he's doing about variant covers.
Okay.
And this week alone, I could single out Boom for many covers on several books.
Yeah, boy, they don't lack for covers.
And
I'll tell you what.
DC especially.
Yeah, certainly with Boom, the thing that seems like it's doing really well for them, I don't know how great it's doing for us, is the foil covers.
Yeah.
Like they started instituting those a lot more.
I would like it if they were...
Or maybe that could just be my perception of like
if it was,
2 foil covers.
If there weren't 2 foil covers per... speaking of foil covers, a lot of retailers this week are just realizing that the DC foil covers are a net price and not a retail price.
Yeah.
But...
That'll sneak up on you.
Well, but we were told that from the beginning.
We were, but there are things that DC is very good at communicating to retailers, like the fact that there were going to be allocations and there'd be a staggered shipment for the foil covers.
I don't like the fact that the allocation...
I don't think they were great at, because I don't think they've ever been great at the net price communication thing.
Well, that's on the floor now forever.
It is forever. We'll have to build a new studio.
Bury this one.
Fill it with concrete. Push it out to sea.
Bury me 6 feet deep, cover me in concrete, turn me into a street. That's a Poppy lyric.
Is it? Okay.
From the song Concrete.
Oh.
Bury me 6 feet deep.
I don't know if you can say more than that without us owing her money.
Oh, then I won't say chewy, chewy, yummy, yummy, yummy. Never mind. I'm just going to keep going, but I won't.
Okay.
It's a good point. I don't mind owing Poppy money.
I don't think you can afford to owe Poppy money. You built a whole new studio.
Yeah, it's true. My bank account is
ravaged.
I've never seen moths come out of a computer screen before when I log into PNC.
Uh-huh.
It is startling, and the holidays are around the corner.
Yeah.
And there are things like, oh, I'm going to get this for
Everyone's
the person I
getting
have.
a hand-drawn picture. I'm going to sing you a song.
It's the same song. It's not a Poppy song. I can't afford that. Man, there was something else, too. I don't know. I definitely feel like I'm very far behind in all my PDFs and all the things that I usually stay on top of, but...
Yeah, I'm trying to get better at that now that the studio construction is largely in the rear view.
Yeah.
That's why I took a little bit of time to read All Against All, and it's like 6 pages into Hell to Pay. Which...
Oh, I read Hell to Pay. Don't worry. I read it for you.
Okay, thanks. I do want to read it. I mean, it's coming out this week, so I might as well wait for the comic. But I wanted to maybe get ahead of the game a little bit and read it while I had time. Yeah, I had not gotten to, like, the story yet. I'd gotten, like, maybe 2 panels into the actual story.
Got ya. You know, one of the flaws with the way the Podcastitorium is set up is that the whiteboard is now behind us.
Oh, no.
I mean, it's empty right now.
Sure.
It's just white.
Sure.
With the red trim. But to hang it where it would normally hang, it's facing...
But at least you can see a Quasar figure now more readily.
You know what I've been saying? This Quasar figure the whole time.
It's a good figure.
The cape is just A+.
I can't believe they did the cape the way they did. It's really cool.
It's so good.
It lays on really well. It's not like molded to him. I like it. There
were a lot of other publisher presentations, but
where was this?
The Diamond Summit this weekend.
Oh,
it's Baltimore. It's Baltimore Comic Con this right now.
I hadn't realized.
Right now, and I know that they announced the BP is ready, but I cannot find anywhere. And
you didn't like how our entry ended up on the voting page.
I
so you don't think we're going to win.
I don't think we're going to win. So we were up for best all ages section,
and that's really the BPA that we still want to get.
That's the one we've always wanted.
Yeah, we've won other BPAs, and there's probably other stuff we might go out for in the future if we feel like it's a natural fit. But the kids' room is one where it's like, man, like I think we should get that one.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing with the BPAs. Once we win a category, we won't go for it again.
No.
And I know other stores don't have that same.
Stores can do what they want.
Yeah, they can, of course. But
go nuts.
The number of times we've not won best all ages section is quite frankly disheartening.
Yeah,
disheartening.
Disheartening. Yeah, that's a word.
And it's one of the things I think we have. I think we have the best all ages section. But the problem is in the past when these ballots were being constructed, I would talk to Emily specifically at the time, who was handling all this from Diamond, and I had to do a write-up and send in photos. And I could send in as many photos as I wanted, and at one point Emily said, you can send in video too, right?
Ooh.
I'm like, oh, and I never did. Now it's a specific form you fill out from Diamond, and you can only attach 4 files. And the file sizes are small enough that, like I did a video tour of Sidekicks as one of the files to use, way too big of a file. Couldn't do it.
Mm.
So of the 12 pictures I had to pick the best 4 that fully represented every aspect of Challengers. I'm sorry, of Sidekicks.
Right.
And I did. And it was more effort than I thought it would be. So when the actual ballot comes out, they only used 2 photos.
Mm-hmm.
And
they picked them.
It was of the 4 I sent.
Of the 4, but they picked 2. We didn't pick 2.
Yeah, I would have done 2 from opposite sides. They did 2 kind of similar ones.
Yeah, you didn't really get a sense of the room so much as you did like an angle and another angle.
Imagine being in Sidekicks and only seeing one side of the white shelves.
Yeah.
Not seeing everything that covers the walls.
Right.
And I think that that's honestly a disservice to what Sidekicks is. And I don't expect that a lot of people read all the write-ups.
No.
As someone who votes on these things, I do if the photos catch my eye.
Sure.
If they don't, I'm not going to read it.
No.
So regardless of... And I tried to describe what people could or couldn't see.
Right.
But I don't know that I would have voted for us
no.
based off of the way that entry looked.
Probably not. It was not a great
And it just made me so sad.
Yeah, I know.
The awards, they've never meant anything as far as increased business or community recognition or
sure.
just not patrons. or patrons. People shop in the store, it doesn't really matter that much to them. They don't know what BPAs are.
No.
But that's the one, can I say deserve? That's one we deserve.
I would say, you never want to say that about an award deserving an award, but yeah, I feel like it's
we have
worthy of
5 or 6 others, and I love that we have them.
Mm-hmm.
And winning Best Graphic Novel section, that was great.
That was cool.
The rest of them, okay.
Yeah, who cares? We're on Best Website. That website doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, I remember we won Best Website, and before we won it, you're like, oh god, those like you thought the whole
pictures were terrible.
They were pictures of the website.
I know, but it was just like,
how do you represent a website?
How do you represent a website in photos? It just was like, and I want to say there was a thing where like they were like misformatted in some way on the actual like the physical, because they did like poster board things.
Yeah, you could vote in person it was in Chicago that year.
Oh no,
and you're like, oh, gross.
And then we won.
Discounting all of my hard work.
I appreciate everything you did. I didn't appreciate the finished product from Diamond.
Because, quite frankly, that was your award.
Yeah.
The website was yours.
Yeah.
When we win best Facebook or Twitter pages, I'll take those, which we did.
We did.
We've never won best Instagram page, but I don't think we deserve to.
No, there's definitely room for improvement on that channel.
But yeah, so at this point, I don't know who's won, but I feel like somebody would have reached out had we won.
I don't know about that.
Somebody who's there, a friend of ours.
Oh, maybe.
I don't mean like Diamond wouldn't call us or anything. I'm sure it'll be in Monday's Diamond Daily.
Yeah, for sure.
I thought it would have been in today's because it happened. I believe it happened yesterday.
Yeah. I think that's the one we won for like website or something. I think it was something where like we found out Friday morning, and then at the show they had the breakfast or whatever, and it was like, oh, we knew we won.
Yeah.
Something like that for one of those awards.
But yeah, Baltimore is happening right.
So is the
now.
I think the London MCM.
MCM also I think a 30th anniversary Magic convention is happening this weekend.
Okay.
Magic the Gathering, that is.
Sure.
Real Magic has existed far longer than 30 years.
Yeah, 35 years.
Like 34 3/4.
It was invented by David Copperfield.
Wow, that little like poor kid.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was from that story.
Oh, nice. Oh, he kept saying, "Please, sir, may I have another?" And they kept like pulling a rabbit out of a hat, or
no, it was a string of scarves.
Yeah.
They just kept coming out.
Boy, we're really out of the loop for
know.
comic stuff and whatnot.
I'm trying to think of anything. The new catalogs and stuff came out, and I immediately found errors in the email that we sent out, including the part where I mentioned that this is stuff for December 2022 catalogs when it's actually the January 2023 catalogs.
Whoops.
And then a couple typos.
Well, to be fair, you sent it to both Molly and I to look over before you sent it out, and neither of us caught those.
Nope. Thanks, editors.
You're welcome.
It's a weird catalog, a weird set of catalogs for January. We've talked about this, I don't know on the podcast, but many times in the past about, kind of a chicken and the egg sort of thing about like, is January slow because nothing comes out, or does nothing get put out because January is slow? So you look at the January list of stuff, and it's like, there's good stuff. Saga's coming back. That's going to be huge. That's bigger than any new release Image could probably put together at this point.
Yeah, it looks like it's from now on. It's just going to be last week of the month, 6 issues a year.
Okay, they do what they got to do.
I know.
I'd rather them do that than take like 4 years off, again between arcs. But for the rest of the stuff, like DC has their Lazarus Planet thing, which Batman Superman does great for us. Batman vs. Robin, I thought was going to do as well, if not better, because it's spinning out of that book, and it's also Batman vs. Robin.
Yeah.
No one seems to care. It sells okay, but it does not sell as well as Batman Superman.
No, and it doesn't.
Let alone better.
Yeah, not even close, unfortunately.
No.
And I think it's
and
on
Lazarus
par,
Planet
equally as good.
Yeah, and Lazarus Planet is now spinning out of that. So you take the lowered amount that we're selling for Batman vs. Robin, and then say, okay, a less than 100% amount of people are going to want to read this alpha and a series of weekly one-shots. I don't know what the readership is going to be for that book, but I'm going to assume not good. And if we get a lot of subscribers, maybe I go heavier for rack copies, but Weekly one-shots? Oh, man.
Yeah.
Very small amount of copies, even if it's returnable. Just don't see it happening. That's the DC stuff. And
what is the deal with Sins of Sinister?
What's the deal? Sins of Sinister is an alpha one-shot coming out in January that then sets up essentially what I'd heard from New York, maybe, when they announced it, is that Sins of Sinister is kind of the Mr. Sinister version of Age of Apocalypse. So there will be, in the same way Age of Apocalypse had Amazing X-Men, Astonishing X-Men, Gambit and the Externals, as alternate universe miniseries, they're going to be doing that for Sins of Sinister. I remember one title that they announced was The Immoral X-Men.
Yes.
So Sins of Sinister is the alpha, just like Age of Apocalypse had an alpha.
Okay.
Then in February, you'll probably see the start of a few different miniseries. And then later in the summer, you'll have an Omega. And then I think right from that, they go into...
I'm sorry, I believe Kenny Omega is erased from AEW.
He only got a few of his words out before he was erased from images of AEW.
It was a Thanos snap.
Maybe. So anyway, that's Sins of Sinister. Sins of Sinister itself is kind of the overarching title. But
is it going to take the place of all the X series like it did for Age of Apocalypse?
I don't think it's taking the place of everything so much as there will be a small amount of Sins of Sinister miniseries.
Okay.
Other stuff may go on hiatus temporarily or just get wrapped up.
The ultimate question I had was going to be
Ultimate
how
was
we...
a different brand, but okay.
Oh, no. Sign people up for books because Sins of Sinister is a one-shot, so it's a pre-order, it's not a subscription.
Right. So what we'll probably end up having to do is...
just have people pick the series they want.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, there'll be a thing saying, like, hey, we'll put it in the email, like, okay, this is a Sins of Sinister miniseries. But yeah, the alpha gets you the corresponding Omega later. That's it. Anything else, you got to tell us which titles you want.
Fair.
That's assuming that the format and the publication arrangement is what I think it is, based on what was announced at New York. But we'll know for sure with the next catalog in about 3 weeks.
Yeah, Sins of Sinister is the one that most people were signing up for since the new catalog went out.
I'm not surprised. I briefly toyed with the idea of, like, should we copy over everyone who gets Immortal X-Men because that's the Sinister book? But it's like, no, because this is going to be an alternate universe thing, and I don't think Immortal X-Men, I don't think is going anywhere. Maybe it is. It felt like a thing where, no, you should opt in on this. Because I don't know how much it's taking the place of something versus just becoming an additional X-Men book.
Now, I know how much you don't like the premise of signing people up for books because they got a different book without an immediate crossover or reason behind it. You know, if a new Amazing Spider-Man #1 comes out, even though and it was Zeb Wells who was co-writing the previous one, that you want to sign people up for. But when there's a new Joker series that comes out of a previous Joker series, but it's a whole different creative team,
I'm usually okay with that.
Well, I mean, did we...
I think everyone who got the Chris Cantwell Iron Man is getting the Jerry Dugan Invincible Iron Man, unless they tell us they don't want it.
Oh, but I thought we didn't sign up everybody from Joker to...
I don't remember the
Joker the Man Who Laughed.
I don't remember if we did or not. It's been a while. Usually, if it's taking the place of another book, especially in a very short amount of time, like a month or so, in another version of the industry, that would just be Joker number 17 or whatever.
Right.
And we wouldn't even think twice about unsubscribing everybody because the creative team changed. So I kind of use that as like the guiding principle for carrying it over. If it was a second Joker series, it'd be like, no, you got to tell us you want it. Same thing for like, if Chris Cantwell series was carrying on and Jerry Dugan became a second Iron Man series, you got to tell us. But if that's the only Iron Man series, I'm going to assume a certain amount of people are just reading it because it's Iron Man, and they will read it regardless of who writes it.
A very practical example of that is Amazing Spider-Man is out right now, but so is Spider-Man by Dan Slott and Mark Bagley.
Yes.
And we didn't sign everybody who gets Amazing up to just the adjective of Spider-Man. Because...
No, I'm glad we didn't because it's bad.
Yeah, but that doesn't...
No, but I'm just saying I'm glad we didn't because it's bad.
Why? I don't think it's bad.
No? You liked it?
I mean, it just feels like yet another Spider-Verse crossover.
It just didn't feel like it had anything motivating it beyond, like you said, another Spider-Verse crossover. Like, it didn't... I didn't feel any energy to it whatsoever.
Okay.
Everything felt
wish
very
I lived in a
perfunctory.
world where everything felt earned or necessary in comic reading, as opposed to every special and event and oversized issue. And
sometimes they do. Sins of Sinister.
And sometimes they have 7 covers just for a random issue of Batman.
Yeah,
because that makes perfect sense, right?
It's a lot of covers.
Doesn't it, though? We had 2 people in today, and one of them was buying every cover we had of Riddler Year 1.
Wow. And I thought that was okay, by the way. I don't know if you read it.
I didn't.
I thought it was okay.
I don't need more Riddler stuff.
Oh, if you didn't like the movie and you don't like the serial killer take on the Riddler, I mean, this isn't going to convince you otherwise. But I thought, like, the quality of the work, I thought was good.
Good.
Paul Dano did a good job writing a comic script, which I was kind of amazed at. Anyway, sorry.
So one of them bought every cover, not every copy, but every cover we had of Riddler Year 1. The other one only bought a single cover to Riddler Year 1.
Okay.
But it was the last copy of that cover that their friend did not get.
Weird.
So, like, as if, like, the first person or the second person went up and, like, oh, I'll take this one, and got, like, our last Jim Lee cover. And the other person bought the rest of the covers we had, but couldn't get that one.
Can't get the B cover because their friend bought it the first.
So,
amazing.
The person who bought the most of them checked out first. And then I said, do you want a bag? They said yes, so I gave them a bag.
Sure.
And then the person just buying the one copy, I'm like, do you want a bag? And they said yes. I go, can we just get your friend to carry it? The friend goes, no, I will not.
I think that burned so bad.
If that comic comes into my bag, she's never getting it back.
Wow.
Because she got the last one.
The last one?
And that's how I knew what was happening.
Oh, no.
I'm like, oh, yeah, you got the last Jim Lee cover. Oh, look at that.
End of a friendship.
Yep. It was pretty funny.
That's great.
It's even funnier because I don't think the friend was joking when they said no. Well, at least it wasn't a yawn.
It wasn't.
We'll take it.
Okay.
There was someone who literally we have a hard time understanding. And they asked for sort of the Swords of Hyperion. And I'd never heard of that.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
The Swords of Hyperion. And I'm like, I don't think I've ever carried that. So I'm looking, like, the only Hyperion book we have is the Marvel character. Is that because I said yawn? Is that why we're doing it?
Yeah.
Yawn.
Doesn't work.
Yawn. Well, it's got to, you're going to yawn eventually, so it counts.
Yeah.
They just build up.
Yeah. Now they'll get 3 in a row.
So it wasn't until I did some pretty extensive digging. The word was not Hyperion.
Was it Hyperborea?
Hyperborea.
Yep, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
That's where they use swords a lot.
Yep. Well, we didn't carry the collection.
No.
And I said, it's available as a hardcover collection. It's in stock. We can get it for you. I just wanted to look at it.
Maybe you could have sold them on Swords of Hyperbole. I hear it's great. The best ever.
This is a book unlike any other. Yeah, you know, normally, I would write these things down on a whiteboard, but we can't. Because, the markers are in a different part of the podcastatorium. But there's just not the things that I want. You know what? I wonder, because of the, we had to travel for a while to find the right location for the podcastatorium.
Sure.
I wonder if that's going to lessen my potential anger to these stories that I keep.
Oh, like it'll get burned down on the travel time?
Yeah, like it'll lessen. Like, not burned out, just be like, meh, I don't care.
Yeah, you'll be more upset about traffic, probably.
Well, I mean, I was just going to say, I'm not going to be like Mike Wall, who can get cut off leaving his driveway and 45 minutes later be fuming about it. That
was a great thing about him.
I feel like it would dissipate.
Maybe. We'll find out.
Yeah, we will. But there were no specifics. Like, today was more just like, whatever.
That's good.
I will say this is hilarious to me, that when I got to the store this morning, there was a line of people out front. And I thought, that's weird.
Yeah, I mean, usually on a Wednesday, but not on a Friday.
Not on a Friday. And
it's not like we had an event or anything. It was just Friday.
No. And it was a bunch of dudes, and then a dad with 2 young kids, and then another dude. All dudes. They all wanted the new Pokemon Charizard box set that came out today that we don't even have.
Yeah.
We have cut way back on our Pokemon stuff unless it's boosters.
Yeah.
So many box sets.
So many box sets and so many tins. And people, like, not only does it suck to have them when people don't want them, but it sucks because we don't have boosters. We can't get boosters right now. So, of course, you get these parents coming in and the kid's allowed one booster pack. And it's like, well, all we have are these tins and boxes. And the parent obviously doesn't want to buy a tin or a box for a kid that's been promised one booster pack. So then we get to hear the, like, I'm sorry, they don't have any. And it's like, I can't do anything about that. That's how collectibles work. I wish I had a ton. I don't.
Eagle-eared listeners, no, elephant-eared listeners, bat-eared listeners,
Yes.
may have already connected this subject matter to something I was talking about very early in this podcast about things that we weren't carrying and talking about a phone call with our distributor. It was all Pokemon stuff.
Elephant-brained.
Elephant brain listeners?
Yeah. Elephants never forget.
Okay. I just meant like people that that works. I think I'll just keep bat-eared though.
Okay.
Yeah, so we don't order. Granted, there's still stuff we have on order from months ago that's still coming in, already on the next invoice. But we're going out of our way not to stock a lot of these box sets anymore because we're tired of them. They take up space. Yeah. We never know exactly how big they're going to be, and they're always bigger than that. And people don't want them, although I did sell 2 today.
And I with the caveat of like holiday season's coming up, and I assume that we're going to sell a few more box sets of things as the holidays get closer.
But the majority of these adult men, when we didn't have the Pokemon thing, just immediately left, turned and left.
The only thing they came for.
Yeah. One guy's like, well, what are you going to get it? How much is it going to be? I'm like, I don't know the answer to any of those questions.
The weird thing is that we don't publicize our Pokemon stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
it never makes it to new release lists.
We didn't do any like Instagram posts or Twitter posts or stuff on our website about the new Charizard box set. I never fielded a phone call from anyone about whether we were going to have it and when we would have it and how much it was going to cost. So the idea of like all these people lining up, it's like, why didn't you check first?
Yeah.
We didn't. There were no signs posted saying, definitely show up Friday morning for this, that we've, bait and switched people. Like, why would you do that? Why would you not do a little bit of, like, legwork beforehand so you don't waste a trip? So dumb.
We did have multiple calls for it today.
Yeah, again, that makes sense. Like, on the day of, sure, the day before, but to just show up the morning of, like, well, again, what if we were getting it, but it didn't show up until later? Like, we've had plenty of card game stuff where it's like, it's coming from UPS. I don't know when it's going to get here. I know it's the street date. We don't have it yet.
Yeah. It was just wow, look, people are excited for comics today. Oh, no, they're not.
No, they were not. Only Pokemon cards.
Yep.
For Pokemans.
But again, like, all just dudes that I feel that they're just speculators and not players.
Oh, certainly. Yeah. I mean, I would say it's probably half and half. There are plenty of... We sell Pokemon cards to plenty of adults. And
True.
It's on such a regular basis that it's like, you're not flipping these. You actually play Pokemon. Like, plenty of adults do. So I'm sure some of that was people legitimately wanting it and being excited about it. And some of it was probably people who were like, oh, this is the hot thing. If I get it this morning, I can sell it this afternoon for twice what I paid for it.
Twice what I paid? Yes, please.
Joke was on them, though.
No, the joke is on us. We're a terrible store. We don't have anything. Oh, I don't know if we ever talked about this.
I know this story.
Yeah,
as soon as you said it, I'm like, I don't know.
This is from a couple weeks ago. It was on a Tuesday afternoon.
You have to tell us because I wasn't even around for it. I was in the back doing something. I got to come out and hear about it from you and Molly.
I was in Sidekicks checking in the new Diamond product.
Uh-huh.
But this dude, this like middle-aged white dude, opens the door, pokes his head in, says... Like, I think he stepped foot in, but, like, didn't walk around. Says to Molly Jane, do you guys have CGC books? Molly's like, no, we don't carry those. Guy goes, what a shithole. And just walks out. What a shithole, because we don't have CGC
Didn't have any
books.
slabbed books. What a shithole.
Yep.
I mean, I think there's a lot of reasons you could say that Challengers is a shithole, but the board books thing, the slab books, I don't think that's fair.
No, definitely not.
That's unfair. I don't think that's a criteria for a comic shop.
I don't.
No.
Do you think a comic shop has to carry X-Men comics to be called a comic shop?
I think the criteria that you had used before was like Saga, when Saga was coming out regularly.
Okay.
Like, if you don't carry Saga...
Oh, that's half the industry.
Still, you think?
I don't know.
Single issues of Saga, you think that many stores are opting out? That's crazy. That sounds skewed to me. I think even stores that don't carry Image stuff would probably carry Saga, unless, like, they're one of those stores that has taken a stand against the content of Saga because of their beliefs.
But would the stores that don't carry Saga carry Amazing Spider-Man or X-Men or Batman?
I'm just using your criteria.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you'd certainly assume that, like, there's a breadth of material I think a store has to carry to be considered a comic shop. I don't think there's one particular title because that diminishes comics as a medium. You know, saying a store has to carry Batman means like, okay, but what about My Hero Academia? Or what about Saga? Or what about Nimona? Or what about Babysitter's Club? Or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's
what
so
about
much
Chainsaw
stuff.
Man?
What about Chainsaw Man?
No, what about it?
Oh, I guess the animated series started? Or maybe a new season?
No, but what about it?
I don't know. What about it? I don't read it or watch the show. I don't know.
But what about it?
Kamen Rider Black Sun launched today on Amazon Prime around the world.
How was it?
I haven't watched it yet.
What?
I was doing other stuff today.
Reading All Against All.
I do plan on watching at least the first episode tonight. I think it's 10 episodes, and I do want to get done with it by the time the weekend ends. But anybody who has a Prime Video subscription in the United States, or apparently anywhere else, probably on the globe, can actually just watch it on their account.
Well,
Kamen Rider Black Sun. It is a modern adult remake of the classic series Kamen Rider Black from the 1980s. Or 90s? I don't know.
How do you not know?
It's Showa. I don't truck with Showa.
I've seen you wear that t-shirt.
Should make that t-shirt.
I don't truck with Showa. I watched Blade of the 47 Ronin this week.
Oh, yeah?
Written by our two good friends, Amy Garcia and AJ Mendez.
Oh, cool.
Amy,
the team behind Glow versus the Babyface.
Yeah, which we did a very successful signing.
We did.
For that book with them, and the two of them could not have been nicer.
Yes.
I started watching Lucifer specifically because of Amy Garcia.
You did, and what a gift that was.
And also,
you love that show.
Also, didn't know she didn't debut until the second season.
Was the first season good, though?
It was a short season, so
okay.
I didn't have to wait that long for Amy to show up. But AJ we see on a fairly regular basis.
Yes.
Amy, we've only met that one time, but I've talked to her since then.
Oh, that's cool.
And this movie, based off of a Dark Horse property, let's not forget, 47 Ronin.
Yeah.
Yeah. This movie is so much action, so many fight scenes, some pretty unexpected twists and turns in it. Also, so bloody.
Cool.
Like, blood constantly splashes on the camera lens unintentionally.
Oh.
Which, like supernatural bloody.
Nice.
If I may. There's this one quality kill where one of the Ronin... Actually, they're samurai. One of the samurai... They're fighting people on... It all takes place in Budapest. But they have a very similar...
Very cheap to film in, but yes.
A very similar... Well, I don't know if they filmed there, but that's the story is in there.
I would bet they filmed there.
Their subways, their rail cars are very similar to any major cities.
Okay.
So there's a lot of like subway fight scenes.
Uh-huh.
And one of the samurai just takes one of the, let's say, ninja bad guys, but they're not ninja. There are ninja in the movie, but...
You don't want to be culturally insensitive, I guess.
Correct. But just they're all like hooded and masked.
Sure.
They're foot soldiers, if you will.
Mooks.
And just plants their face against the... Like just doesn't kick them, but like foot on the face and jams the head into the subway wall.
Okay.
And then when the blood splatter behind it when the head drops was just So wonderful.
Wow.
It was.
What is this on Netflix?
It is a Netflix movie.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. Kept climbing in the rankings. It
Nice.
debuted on Tuesday.
Weird.
Which was weird. Yeah. And I had a hunt for it. It didn't come right up. Their Cabinet of Curiosities is the thing I'm promoting the most over everything.
Okay.
So it's all.
Is that the Guillermo del Toro
Yeah.
thing? That figures.
So it's you open Netflix and bam, that starts playing. I had to literally search 4700 to find it.
Yeah.
But it's doing well.
Nice.
So I thought I could mention it because they're comic writers as well. They also wrote a Dungeons and Dragon
That's right.
series for IDW.
Yeah.
And they each had stories in Wonder Woman Black and Gold.
Oh, okay.
Black, White, and Gold.
That's
Black
true.
and Gold.
I forgot about that. Black and Gold.
And it's a comic property.
Yeah.
Comic book property.
All
So,
those
yeah.
reasons and more.
So yeah, it was very fun. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
It's just so really great fight scenes
Excellent.
and a lot of blood, which is what we want in everything, including podcasts. Thanks for listening.
And keep reading comics.
This has been Contest of Challengers. Thanks for listening. Keep reading comics. Challengers is located at 1845 Northwestern Avenue in the Bucktown neighborhood of Chicago. 773-278-0155. Keep up to date with new releases and events at challengerscomics.com. Like Challengers Comics on Facebook, follow @Challengers on Twitter, and help fund this podcast at patreon.com/challengers.